Hello, I'm Karin and I'm delighted to be one of the presenters for Why Go Vegan. I went vegan about 30 years ago and I've been presenting for about that amount of time as well. And I'm so excited about this series because you and I get to hang out with the most fabulous people. They are brilliant and hopefully we are both going to be very inspired. Now, today we are joined by the wonderful Emilia Lesse. Now, Emilia is an author of her brilliant book, Think Like a Vegan. She writes essays on life, travel, veganism for lots of different publications. She's involved with a long-term forest rewilding project in the Scottish Highlands. She was also, is a corporate finance lawyer over 20 years, and she lives with her husband, Roger, who is also a vegan. And we're delighted to speak to you today, Emilia. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Karin. It's nice to be here with you, actually. It's been a while.
I know. Brilliant. Now I'm going to kick off, throw you in at the deep end straight away. I want to know, Emilia, what do we mean with think like a vegan?
That's a great question. And what I mean by that is by making sure that our veganism is something that we weave into every part of our life. How does it manifest itself, not just when we go food shopping, but when we make choices about clothing, and when we make choices about any variety of things, of health, and when we make choices about what we think about the environment, or how we deal with other people and in funky social situations. So that's what I mean by it, is how do we think through everything that we do in our using our vegan ethics as a sort of baseline.
Now, I take it you cover this and go in quite deeply with the book.
Yes.
Can you give us a fast whistle-stop tour of the book so we go a little bit deeper?
Sure, of course. So the book, which is currently in, you can get it on paperback, from the front to the back. Basically, the foundation is the ethics, but really pared back, so it's understandable. Anybody can access it. And then it goes through in different essays, different topics. So we'll touch on the economics, we'll touch on politics, we'll touch on the history, and we'll touch a little bit on environment, land use, as well as health and zoonotic and panzoonotic diseases, a variety of things like that. Then at the end, the final chapter is basically there are little scenarios, everyday scenarios, and we go through how to think through the situation and the interaction and what to consider when you're facing that situation. And all the situations and all of the scenarios are real. Names have been changed, but they're all real.
That's amazing. Now, Emilia, I've got to ask you, why did you go vegan?
Well, I became vegan because I realized, and I talk about this in the book too, I realized dairy, the whole process of dairy, and how, and this was when I was going through IVF, and I realized that with my human privilege, here I was deciding about reproductive choices, but yet taking them away and imposing them on a female and a male of another species entirely. So that was, to me, that was the moment when I realized, okay, I have to be vegan. There's no other choice.
When was that, Emilia?
Probably about 12-ish years ago, maybe a little longer, something like that.
Did you start being plant-based or vegetarian and move over, or were you one of these amazing people that jump in off the deep end and just go into being vegan?
Well, we were sort of pescatarian for what that's worth. But we had, we ate lots of dairy, cheese, and things like that. But it was an overnight that, I mean, once I decided, for me, that was that. I could never do it the other way.
So you really made the connection and knew absolutely, certainly, I need to be vegan.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I feel you, Emilia. I think that was me. Jump in the deep end type of person.
Right? Because once you know, you can't keep going in the way you were going. You just can't unknow the terrible damage and the terrible injustice of it. You just can't unknow that and say, oh, I'll make an exception, because that exception is someone's life, someone's everything, so that was it for me.
What helped you with your initial steps as you started your vegan journey?
What helped me? That's such a good question. I have no idea. Probably a lot of imagination and a lot of and also research skills, because I just said, okay, well, I just need to figure things out, and I need to figure out, a bit of recipes and that sort of thing. And then reading all of the various writers on the topic. And that was also helpful. Because I think having a good foundation in terms of knowledge and of learning from other people, I think that's really important. And it was also really early days of Instagram, so I was able to find all sorts of connections and things like that, which was also really nice.
I always think as well, Emilia, and this is why I love Why Go Vegan. It's so important to know your reason why. Why do you want to take these next steps and become vegan? And I think if you do have any slight wobbles or, untoward questions and you feel a little bit unsure, knowing your reason why is really powerful. Do you feel that as well?
Absolutely. It's what will sustain you. Knowing the reason why and knowing the importance of it is absolutely critical, because you make full 360-degree connection to it all. And yeah, it's absolutely critical.
Emilia, how can we find out a little bit more about your work? And I'd love to chat to you for a lot longer, maybe another time, but just a brief, how can we know more about you?
You can find me on social media at Leese, or on my website, emilialesse.com. I'm also on Substack, and I have a podcast that's also called Think Like a Vegan. And basically, if you put this in and you put Emmy, you'll find me.
Fantastic. Well, I'm leaving now to go and pick up a copy of the book. Thank you for joining us today, Emilia. Can't wait to read the book. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
My pleasure.